Hi, I'm Andy Savage. Welcome to One Man and His Meeple. Tonight we're going to be playing Wingspan, a game designed by Elizabeth Hargrave and published by Stonemaier Games. In Wingspan, you play a bird enthusiast attempting to discover and attract the best birds to your network of wildlife preserves. In the solo game, you play against the Automa, which is a small deck of cards with a number of actions depicted for each round. On each of the Automa's go, you simply turn one card over and play the action that pertains to that round. And similarly to you, the Automa can take bird cards from here, take cards from the face down pile. It can take eggs, or it will take food. It doesn't actually collect any. It doesn't actually use any of the resources, so it doesn't retain any of them. It's just denying you those resources. We'll see how that works as we go through. So I've set up, I had 5 cards and I've discarded down to 2 and keeping 3 resources as a result. I've decided to settle on the Anatomist objective card, which means that birds with body parts in their names will award me victory points at the end of the game. I've decided to keep the Eurasian Golden Oriole and Red Crossbill. They're both pretty expensive, but they were the best out of what I had at the start. The Automa's objective card is birds that eat mice. Now, whenever they take a card that's face up, if there's one that eats mice in the tableau there, then it will go face up into their collection. Otherwise, a card will go face down into their collection. And at the difficulty level I'm playing, face down cards will be worth 4 victory points at the end of the game. As in the multiplayer game, you score each round against a randomly determined objective. So in the first round, we've got birds in trees. In the second round, we've got birds in the grassland. Third round, we've got the birds with, I think that's ground nesting birds. And in the fourth round, we've got the number of birds in one row. This fourth objective comes from the European expansion, which I'm lucky enough to have here. So we've got birds from the Americas and also from Europe in here, and a ton more cards to play with, you can see. In the solo game, in the single player game, you always get to go first, and the Automa always finishes off the round. So I think we should just get started and see how we go. Since the first round objective is birds in trees, I've kept the 2 birds that actually can be played into the forest areas, and I'm going to play the Golden Oriole first. So I'm going to put a cube up there, play him into there, and that's going to take all the food that we have left. So one bug, 1 berries, and 1 grain. Now, this pink power that normally in a multiplayer game might be set off during turns when another player does something, this one is when another player takes the gain food action. There are actions in the Automa deck that actually trigger those. So it's quite handy to get a couple of those out if possible. That will allow us to get bugs or berries from the bird feeder at the end of that player's turn, or when it comes up on there, in effect. So let's see what the Automa is going to do. So on this card, they're going to take food from the bird feeder in order of preference according to these icons here. So first it would be mice, but there aren't any. So next they're going to take all the fish. Where I could put them there, I think. And that's all they do with them. They don't actually take the resources because they don't need them. And they've also got a blue cube icon here, which means they take 1 cube and put it on the round objective marker. They also have a base score for the round objective. So for round 1, birds in forests, they start with a base score of 0, and they add 1 for each cube that is there at the end of the round. There are icons here that mean those cubes are removed. But at the moment, I have one bird in the forest, and they have effectively one bird in a forest. So we're scoring equal there. So that was the Automa's go. Now it's back to us. I'm going to need some more food so I can do anything at all. So let's play there. We're going to take the grain. I think we should take a grain or seeds or whatever it is. Now we have the option to to discard the red crossbill to take another food from the bird feeder. And I'm tempted to do it because at this point I'm going to have to take food again to be able to do anything next turn. And I'm looking up there. There's a tree creeper there that has that we would be able to play, and it also has a body part in the name, so it fills our anatomist objective as well. So I'm going to discard the crossbill and take probably the worm in this case, or bug, or whatever it is. So then that doesn't activate, so that's our second turn. And the Automa is going to take an egg. Now they just take eggs, and they're worth 1 point each for the Automa at the end of the game, just like they are for us. Now back to us. We're going to need to draw some cards. I'd like to draw that short-toed tree creeper, so I'm going to play that there and take that. The Automa, fill this back up. The Automa, this icon means we remove all the cards from the face-up display and take one card face down for the Automa, which we will put there. That fits in. I'll tell you what, let's lose those for now. They don't need to be there all the time. And this means we remove one of those blue cubes from the round scoring. So now they're back to 0 and we have 1. Okay, so this is our hand. We are going to need eggs if we're going to if we're going to play the tree creeper into the forest. So let's go for the eggs action. We'll take 2 eggs and put them on the oriole, and that fills up that nest. Back to the Automa. Now, if there's only one type of dice left in the feeder, we throw them all back in, and then they will remove all the dice as per this order again. So no mice, 2 fish, just like last time. And now we activate all pink powers. So whenever we activate the Oriole's pink power, which means we can gain either a worm or berries from the bird feeder. There are only worms, well, there are no berries. So that's quite good. Back to us. We can now play this tree creeper. So we put a cube there, pay the egg, and pay the bug and the seeds. Back to the Automa. Again, they are going to remove that and activate all pink powers again. So we can take a bug or a berry from the bird feeder. There aren't any bugs or berries. I'm not sure if we're allowed to re-roll. I'm just going to check that. Nope, so that's fairly clear. We're not allowed to re-roll, so we can't take a worm or berry from the bird feeder. Okay, so we have no cards, so I suggest we're going to draw a card. We need to fill up this tableau again. The ruddy duck, a song sparrow, and the black-crowned night heron. Which of those might we want? If we took the ruddy duck, then we could actually play it the next turn because we have the bug. And that allows us to draw 2 cards when activated and discard 1, which is good. We could also take and play the Song Sparrow. Their activation cost is one of those ones that goes from habitat to habitat. And they're pretty cool because they can reduce the costs or increase the power of the action you're taking. I say decrease the costs. You can move them out of a habitat and then play another bird into that one without having to pay the egg cost. Neither of those are worth any victory points at the end of the game, and neither of them have body parts, so... But we could play the Song Sparrow initially into the... Or we could play it anywhere and then move it to the forest when we want to take food next. I think we'll go for the Song Sparrow this time. So what we're going to do, we're going to draw a card. So we'll put a cube there and draw that. And then at the end of our turn, we refill that with an indigo bunting. And the Automas go, they're going to take another egg, and they would remove a cube from there if they had any, but they don't. So back to us. Where are we going to play this Song Sparrow? I think we could play it down in the water, and then with the last action, take a card, discard the egg for another card, and then move it up there into the forest, ready to take some food at the start of the next turn. That looks good to me. Right, so we'll play that down there. We'll play pay the worm to feed it. And we need to put a cube up there to designate that. The Automa is taking another egg and putting a cube back up there. And then back to us. Let's do what we said we were going to do. We'll take a card. I don't really fancy any of those. I'm just going to take a blind one from the top of the deck. It's a Griffon Vulture. I can't remember how this feeding works. I'll check that in a second. And then we're going to pay the egg to take another one. Red cockaded woodpecker. Then we're going to activate the Song Sparrow and move it up there to the trees, ready for the end of the turn. Just going to check how this Griffon Vulture works. Okay, so I think that just means we don't pay any food to play the Griffon Vulture, and then the teal power is something that's introduced in the European expansion, and we can choose another player, including ourselves, or choose any player, including ourselves, and cash a mouse on it from the supply for each of the skull and crossbones symbol that player has. Well, the Automa is never going to have any, or I suppose it might have some face up, but at the moment it has none, and at the moment we have none. Anyway, we just drew those, so we don't have another turn this round anyway. The other one was the woodpecker, which allows us to draw some bonus cards when it's played, which might be useful, and get us right up here in the forest. Anyway, Automa's last turn. It's going to take, it's the bird action, so it will take anything from here that eats rodents, and the night heron does, so it's going to take that, which is unfortunate for us, because that night heron is worth 9 victory points. But it doesn't place any cubes, and at the end of the turn we fill that back up. So let's look at the round scoring. As I said, the base score for round 1 for birds in the forest for the Automa is 0, and they have 1 cube, so they got 1 point, and we got 3, so we got the most. So We put the cube in there and they put a cube in second place. Then we clear those and replenish from the supply. King Rail, a Western Tanager, and a Mississippi Kite. We clear all these cubes off, ready for the next turn. So, the second round is birds in grasslands, and their base score for birds in grassland is 1 point this turn. There's a bit of maintenance to do here. There's an Automa card that must be removed after round 1. There's one of those for each round. And then we reshuffle those and turn that round. This is just a tracker to easily demonstrate which round we're on. Now while I looked at those, give them another shuffle. Okay. So back to us for the start. We have no food, so I guess we're immediately just going to play up here. We take 2 from the feeder. There is only grain there, and we at least need worms and berries. So because there's only one type of food left in here, we're allowed to re-roll all of them. So that's lucky. We've got a worm and a berry now. So let's take those. We can discard a card to get another food type, but we don't have to pay anything for the Griffon Vulture anyway. So I don't want to discard the Griffon Vulture because he's worth a victory point as well. So we activate the Song Sparrow. Now he must move to another habitat. Let's not put him into the grasslands because that's where we're going to play the Griffon Vulture. Let's move him down there into the water, and then we activate the Tree Creeper. We can discard an egg to play another bird into the forest. Now, unfortunately, I didn't get eggs first, so maybe I should wind that back. Now we've rolled dice and everything. Now we'll just stick with it. So we can't do that. And the Oriole doesn't have an activation. So altogether, that wasn't a brilliantly planned turn. But there you go. So that was our go. Let's see what the Automa does. They're going to take any of the rodent eaters from up here. So that's the Mississippi Kite. Another 4 points for them. And we activate all pink powers. So I can gain a worm or berries from the bird feeder. So we'll take... Oh no, it's pink, isn't it? It's not that. Round 2. Nothing happens apart from they get the Mississippi Kite. So we'll replenish this then. Black woodpecker. Onto our go. We can play either of these. I think I'm going to play the woodpecker first. Can't because don't have any eggs. So let's play the Griffon Vulture first into the grasslands. So that's a cube up there. And why haven't we put should have put other cubes up here? How many? Oh no, they were last round. Oh, I'm losing the plot. Okay. So put a cube up there for the Griffon Vulture. Okay, Automa's go. He's taking berries, no, mice from the feeder, and then activating all pink powers, and we still can't take a worm or a berry, so we lose out there. We need to get some eggs so we can play this woodpecker. So let's play there. Take 2 eggs. Doesn't really matter where we put them. Might use the white ones, they don't stand out so well. We'll put some blue ones on this Oriole because they have a star type nest. And Don't activate the Griffin, and then that goes there. Automa are taking 2 eggs and placing a blue cube on there. So they now have effectively 2 birds in the grassland, and we have just 1. On the plus side, they now have a bird of prey, so we can activate our Griffon Vulture at the end of the round. Now we can play the woodpecker. So let's put the woodpecker up there, pay the egg cost. Oh, let's put a cube up there so we don't forget. Pay the egg and pay the food. And we can now draw 2 new bonus cards and keep 1 of them. So this is behaviorist. For each column that contains birds with 3 different colours, we get 3 per column. We've got 1 of those already. Or birds with a tuck power. We haven't got any birds with a tuck power yet, and there are none there. So let's keep the behaviorist for now, seeing as we know we've already got 3 points for that. Out of interest, how much have we got for the anatomist at the moment? We've got toes. And in the interest of keeping this family friendly, I won't mention the other one that we could potentially have. It's the Automa's go, because we just played the woodpecker. That's correct, right? They have the face down card, which means they remove all of those and take a face down card, which is worth 4 points. In the Automa's go, we fill that back up. A barred owl, an eastern bluebird, and a Eurasian nutcracker. Okay, so we have 3 turns left. We've got no cards in our hand. So let's draw a card. We've got no food either. So I think we can go here, draw a card, and do we want any of these in particular? The Eurasian nutcracker allows us to cache grain on all the birds in our forest, and we'll have 4 then. So that's quite good caching card. The barred owl is a bird of prey, so it would allow us to activate our Griffon Vulture on ourselves, and allows us to look at a card from the deck, and if it's smaller than 75 centimeters, we can tuck it. The eastern bluebird, play a second bird in your grassland, pay its normal cost. We don't have enough cards in our hand to do that. I quite like the look of the Eurasian nutcracker, so I'm going to take that one. And I'm going to pay the egg from the Oriole to draw another card. Now, do we want the barred owl as well? Just to fill up the forest. Looking ahead, we also need the ground nesting birds for round 3, but we also need birds in 1 row for round 4. Now, neither of these are ground nesting birds. No, this one is grasslands, but we're not going to get it out before the end of round 2, I doubt. So I'm going to take a card from the face down pile, Anna's hummingbird, which also isn't a ground nesting bird, but never mind. So we'll now activate the song sparrow, who goes to another habitat, and I'm going to move it to the grassland so that in a second when I draw eggs, I'm going to get an extra one. Oh, I forgot to put a blue cube on for the Automa. We'll just check that they should be on 2. Yep. That's the other nice thing about this Automa system. I said on the Patreon post, it's a really nice streamlined system, and it allows you to check what you might have missed. I've said before, in solo games, it's so easy to overlook stuff. And because there's no one else around the table, no one's going to pick you up and say, oh, you should do that. So it's really nice to have the Automa deck where you can just flick back through it and check that you did everything. So there we go. That's 2 points on there for them, and they've got 1 base. So they've got 3 birds in the grassland effectively. We've only got 2 at the moment. So it is their go now. And they've got, again, this clearing off here. So let's put one of those out, clear that off. And then put a face down card for them. And then at the end of the Automa go, we'll fill that back up. A red-winged blackbird, a European roller, and a violet-green swallow. Okay, so we have no food and we have no eggs. What I'm going to do is play there for 3 eggs, which I'm going to put 2 on the Oriole. Use the blue ones again because they stand out nicely. And a 3rd on the Griffon Vulture, why not? Then activate that, move the Song Sparrow up there so we can grab a nice lot of food at the start of the next round. Griffon Vulture doesn't do anything. Well, not at the start of the next round, in fact the next go. Back to the Automa. They're going to take 2 eggs and remove a cube. So for the last action this round, I think we're going to take some food. Because we've got 2 low-cost birds in our hands, so it should give us plenty. I think I'm going to take this grain because we need it for the Nutcracker. And then re-roll for the other 2. Anna's hummingbird will take anything. I don't really want to take a berry or a worm in case we get to do that action. And that's all there is left up there. What's up here? Lots of worm eaters. The European roller is one of these new ones. I don't think this was ever in the original edition. When you play it, you cover 2 spaces with it. It's useful for winning in those rounds, but it won't help us because we won't get it out in time. What we'll be looking? We're looking to see what food we want. There's nothing up there. I'm just going to take a berry because I don't want any of those, and we're not going to get to draw them anyway because they'll be cleared out at the end of the round. Okay, so now we relocate the Song Sparrow. I'm going to put him back down here in the water. That doesn't activate, so we can discard a card to play another bird into the forest. I forgot that. So let's not discard a card, discard an egg. So let's discard the vulture's egg, and we can play that up there using the Oriole's eggs and the grain. Hang on, we haven't finished picking up food. We've got 3 food. So let's take another. Let's take a worm. Okay. So we were doing this. Pay its normal food and egg cost, which we've done. Blah, done. Okay, that got confusing. But that wasn't bad got to play a bird as a result of the gain food action, so that's always good. Okay, now the Automa's final go. They're going to remove the split food from the feeder and activate all pink powers, so we get to do the another berry from the Oriole. And that's the end of round 2. At the end of the round, I can choose 1 player, including myself, and cash a rodent from the supply on this bird for each bird of prey. Now, we only look at the face-up cards, They've got one bird of prey and we've got none. So I'm just going to take one rodent and cash it on there. Now you're only supposed to do that if the Automa has a cube on there, I believe, which they do for this round. So at the end of this round, the Automa are scoring 2 for birds in the grassland. We could have drawn if we'd moved that there. Instead, I'm going to say when we moved the song sparrow, I migrated into the grassland instead. It's a tiny point. So we both get a draw on that one. If you don't like it, you can argue about it in the comments. Then we clear those and put out 3 new ones. An avocet, a kinglet, and a grosbeak. There is a round 2 card in here that we must remove. That's that one. Remove after round 2. And we reshuffle. And we need the round 3 card that covers, there we go, ground nesting birds. Now their base for ground nesting birds is 2 points. We're looking at round 3. There's pretty tiny icons there. Ground nesting birds, a bit blurry out of focus up there. 2 point base. Okay, so we've got plenty of food. We have 0 eggs, and 1 card, we have Anna's hummingbird in our hand. If we activate the food, we get to cash a whole bunch of grain on these. But we don't really want to do that straight away. We've got berries and worms here. Now, is there anything up there that eats berries and worms? There is. The kinglet does. And the kinglet will allow us to play a second bird into the forest, which we don't really need. It's a bit excessive. In fact, it's impossible. So, what are we going to do? We're going to draw cards or get eggs first? If we get eggs first, we can move the sparrow then down into the wetlands and then draw extra cards. So let's do that. We'll take 3 eggs. We still have no ground nesting birds, which we must sort out by the end of this round. The avocet is one, but we don't really have the right type of food for it. And the pink power doesn't really help us until we get another bird with ground nesting. Anyway, we've got our 3 eggs. Let's activate the song sparrow and move him down there. Griffon Vulture doesn't do anything. The Automa on round 3 takes 3 eggs. Oops. Now, this looks like a lot of eggs, but they don't get the tuck bonuses or the stashed bonuses, and they don't pick up extra bonus cards either. And they would remove a cube from here if they played one, but they haven't yet. Now, if we play Anna's hummingbird into the wetland, we're going to lock the song sparrow in there, which isn't great. And also we'll blow the behaviorist, because we'll have 2, the behaviorist score, because we'll have 2 the same there. So let's draw cards first. we've got the wrong type of food for the avocet. So if we wanted to get the avocet out, we've got 4 more cubes. We're going to have to take food. Hope we get the right dice. And then play. So that'll be 2 cubes. Let's go for it. We'll take the avocet, and we're going to pay an egg for a card blind from the top. And it's not another ground nesting bird, it's a bee eater. Activate the song sparrow and move it to there. So that when we go for more food to feed the avocet, we get the best possible for that. The Automa is removing, well actually, first of all, it's rolling all these dice again. And then it's going to remove berries, but there aren't any, so it removes the fish. And then it activates the pink powers, so we can get a worm. That's good. We've actually now got enough to feed the avocet without going the food up here, because we can use the 2 berries to replace the 1 grain. The alternative is to get the bee eater out as well, which will need us to should have been filled up. Okay, let's go for food. I'm going to take 1 worm and another worm. That gives us 4 worms. And then a 3rd worm. What should I do? Should I discard? No, I'm not going to. Right, so we're going to activate the song sparrow and move it to... It's going to get locked in now. We'll move it down to there. Then we're going to cache a bunch of grain. Choose 1 to 5 birds in the forest and cache 1 from your supply. From your supply. It's not from the supply, it's from your supply, and we have none. Never mind. We can discard an egg. No, don't want to do that. That was not well planned because I didn't read the card carefully. Okay. Automa is removing those and replacing them with cards from the Golden Eye, a Common Raven, and Cassin's Finch. And then it's removing a cube that it hasn't put out. No, it hasn't put any cubes out yet. And it's taking a card face down, which it should have done first before I refilled this, but it doesn't matter. Okay, so what are we going to do now? Are we going to play the avocet? I think. Still haven't got a grain somehow. I really messed that up, didn't I? Let's play the avocet anyway. 2 worms and 2 berries to cover the grain that we have somehow managed to not get. There's a cube up there, but it does give us another pink power. We're going to need to lay some eggs before the end of this round as well. Okay, Automa is removing food from the feeder, so it's going to re-roll all of those. And it's going for fish first, so it removes the 2 fish, then activates all pink powers. So I can take the worm from there, more worms, and the avocet lays one egg on another bird with another ground nesting bird. I assume the golden oriole would count because it's a star nest, but it's full up. Okay, not good. Okay, second to last go in this round. We can lay some eggs and put some on the avocet so we get at least one in this round, although they're starting with 2 anyway. The Automa's base score for this round is 2. But at least we'll get second place, because otherwise we score 0. If we don't get any ground nesting birds, we're going to score 0 for this round. So that's what we should do with one of our turns. With the other one, we can either play Anna's hummingbird or the bee eater. We could play the bee eater first and then activate for eggs, which allows us to reset the bird feeder and gain more worms. Let's do that. We're going to lock the sparrow in here, but never mind. So 1 egg for that, and 1. We're going to play the bee eater into there, paying the 2 worms. See what the Automa does. I'm going to take 2 eggs and play a cube. So they're now on 3 of those ground nesting birds in effect. And then we're going to play, final turn, we're going to play there for 3 eggs. We're going to put 2 on the avocet just to make sure. 1 in the oriole's nest. That's 3. Do we want to discard food for a 4th? We're just going to potentially get another worm. But no, I don't think we need more eggs at this point. So reset the bird feeder, and if you do gain a worm. The song sparrow is now locked in on the grassland. Griffon Vulture does nothing at the moment, and that goes to there. So round end, the Griffon Vulture. I'm going to choose the Automa and get 1 more rat cached onto there. We have 2 birds, 2 ground nesting birds with eggs, and they have another go. So I do that. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Nope, the Automa has another go. They are going to take birds that eat rodents from there and place a cube. So their base score is 4 and our base score is 2. So they win that, and we at least get second place. And then those are removed, and we'll replace those. Savannah sparrow, Bell's vireo, and a common yellow throat. We could do with a common yellow throat for our anatomist bonus. We remove the round 3 card from here. Remove after round 3. We did the Griffon Vulture. We did the end of round scoring. So Round 4 now. The Automa's base score for birds in one row is 3, and at the moment we're leading with 4, so it's not going to take them much to overtake, and I assume their maximum for that is 5, just like us. Otherwise that would be a little bit unfair. Take our cubes back. So we've got 5 turns in this final round. We covered everything else? I think so. Round 4 ready to go there. Okay, so we've got 3 worms. We've got Anna's hummingbird in hand, and we've got some eggs on the thing. So we can pretty much go for this. I'd say we need to draw some cards. There's lots of worm-eating birds up here, not particularly high score, although the Vireo would allow us to draw 2 new bonus cards. And well, it's a starred nest, but that's not really much point now. So let's play Anna's hummingbird into the wetlands. We'll take an egg off the avocet. We'll put a cube up there, and we'll pay that with a worm, obviously. The Automa is going to clear those off. So there goes Bell's Vireo, and takes a face down card and places a cube on there. So they're already on 4 in one row. They're already equaling us. Let's play there to draw some cards. We can refill this. The bittern. Of course, nothing that goes in the trees. Although the little bustard does have drawing a bonus card and gaining a card or laying an egg, which is quite cool. But we don't have the food for it. It would be nice to have something like the Vireo that we just discarded. And it's in the wrong location. We want tree birds at this point, so I'm going to just draw blind 1. Of course, the heron, and again a wagtail. Right, let's activate Anna's hummingbird. Each player gains 1 food from the bird feeder, starting with a player of my choice, which is me. We take that fish, we can at least play the heron. And the Automa doesn't do anything on those sorts of cards. Avocet doesn't activate. Automa's turn. It's going to remove mice from the feeder and activate all pink powers. So I can take another worm from the feeder because of the Oriole, and the Avocet can lay an egg. Oh, I did it wrong again. In another ground nesting bird, of which we have none. Only I'd taken the egg off the Oriole instead. Right. 3 actions left. If we play the wagtail into here, we can get another 3 points from the behaviourist, and the tail is also a body part. So I think that's the best. And then what we're going to do with the last 2 actions, we're going to lay lots of eggs. The heron would allow us to play the second bird into the water area, paying its normal cost, which we can afford because there are 3 eggs out, but won't allow us to capitalize on the 3 points of the behaviorist, but is worth 5 points more than the wagtail. So let's do that. Okay, we're going to play there. Pay 1 egg. Play the heron, feeding it the worm and the fish. When it's played, we can play a second bird into the water area, paying its normal cost. So we're going to do that. The costs include the eggs, so the 2 eggs from there, the 2 worms, and he has a round end effect. So that's 2 birds for the single action, so that's not bad. Okay. The Automa takes 3 eggs, 2, 3, and removes that cube. So we've got 2 actions left. No cards in hand, no food, and no eggs. So I think, although if you take round end, if you used all 4 types of actions this round, play another bird and pay its normal food and egg cost. So we could play eggs and gain food, then we've done all 4 actions, but we've got no cards to play. So I think we're just going to spend our last 2 actions rather boringly just laying eggs. So 3 eggs, it doesn't matter where they go particularly, but let's spread them out. 1, 2, 3. Reset the bird feeder and take a worm if there is one. There's 1 there, so we'll take a worm. Song Sparrow's locked in, Griffon Vulture doesn't activate. Automa is taking a bird that feeds on rodents. There's the bittern. And not placing a cube, so that's the end of the Automa's turn. And then back to us for our last turn. I just think more eggs. Unfortunately, nothing clever, no combos at the end. Bit annoying. Reset the bird feeder and take another worm. Might as well. Doesn't hurt us not to. Okay. So that's the end of that. Right. Automa's final turn. Take 3 eggs. 1, 2, 3, and place that cube. Which means we've drawn on the birds in a row. So at the round end, choose a player with birds of prey. We still have none. Seems rather unusual, and they've got 1. So we can cash another rodent on the Griffon Vulture. And also, did we use all 4 types of actions this round? No, we didn't, because we didn't gain food from the bird feeder as an action. So at the end of the round, they have 3 + 1 is 4. We have 4 birds in the forest, so we're sharing that first place as well. So all that remains is to score. I've got a score sheet over here, score pad. So the green, do it in black. You can see it anyway. So Automa is using the 4-point cards for face down. So birds, we have 4, 6, 10, 15, 16, 19, 25, 29, 34, 36 points for birds. The Automa has, now the face down ones are worth 4 each. So they have 1, 2, 3, 4. So 16 points of face down birds. And, oh no, there's another one. 20 points of face down birds. And 13, 18, 25 points of face up birds. Bonus cards. 2 points per bird that eats rodents. That's 2, 4, 6, 8. Oh no, they don't score that. So we have 3 points for each column that has a different power color. So we did have 1 row. So we're now down to 0 rows for that one. Birds with body parts in their names. Toes. And tails would be 2. If I'm going to include cocks and nuts, that would go up to 4. Let's keep it friendly and just go for 3 points, although I might reserve the right to change that. End of round goals. Okay, so the Automa got 4 in the first round and shared 3, so that's 7, 10, and shared 5 is 15. The Automa, and we got 1 plus 3 is 4, 10, and 15. Both the same there. Eggs. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 for us, and millions. 4, 8, 12, 16, 18. Food on cards, I have 3, and tucked cards, I have none. Let's quickly add these up. 45, 60, 78 for the Automa, and 39, 49, 54, 63 for us. So a bad loss. Not a great surprise. The dodgy anatomist cards wouldn't have helped us, being an extra 4 points only. So we'll forget that. Now, you might have noticed, not very good at Wingspan. That puts me 3, 2, 1 down to the Automa on just the basic level. And there's a card you can add in to make it harder. I don't know, 63 is an average score for the solo. I like it. It's a fun game. It's lovely to look at. It's fun when the combos get going. I didn't seem to get much going on that one. There wasn't a lot of tucking cards. The one I did win, I tucked. I ended up tucking loads of cards, which was really good. But hopefully it's given you an idea of the flow of the single player game. Like I said, the Automa, really streamlined system. You can go back and check if you've messed something up. Really clear, only 4 or 5 different things you need to remember: taking an egg, taking a face up bird, taking a face down bird, and removing stuff from the feeder. Placing cubes and activating the pink stuff as bonuses. It's just a really nice, simple Automa. The European cards add these teal powers, which are quite cool. Things that happen at the end of the round. And it's nice to see, as a European, it's nice to see birds that you might see in the garden. So anyway, like I said, hopefully that's given you some sort of idea of the single player aspect of this. It's a good one, and it's challenging. It's, like I said, I'm 2-1 down. I'm going to give it a couple more goes and see if I can win some more. I always seem to struggle at the start. I think to get going, just to get the engine going. I'm not sure if I'm just diving in too deep trying to meet these objectives, to beat the Automa, or what? Just seems really slow going, but it's cool. Just need more practice. So thanks for watching. I hope you enjoyed it. Please remember to like and subscribe if you haven't done already on YouTube. If you go to Board Game Geek, the link will be down in the description. You could give a thumbs up to the video on Board Game Geek. And now we have Patreon set up, and that link will also be down in the description for the video. It'd be great if you could become a patron of One Man and His Meeple and have a say in what games we're going to play and the direction of the channel. That'd be great. Anyway, thanks for watching and see you again soon. Bye.